What non-sexual fantasies do you have? Sometimes when I'm out in the woods I'm really tempted to get as lost as I can, or when I'm driving to just keep going. Not because I hate my life, but because if I could start over somewhere where no one knew me I would. Wife worked with a guy who missed the exit to the job and kept going. Drive about 2 hours. Checked into a hotel and slept for like 2 days. Told his wife, but the job lost their minds. Came back. Quit engineering and sold suits for a year or so. Ex-boss would come in and try to get him back. Took 3 or so hires to replace him. Whenever I think about that it is time for a new job. For me it's more the part on just starting over. TBH with you, my dream isn't money, or a house, or cars. I would be at most happy just living in a van on the beach selling margaritas to people from a little shack. Wake up early, surf the morning tide, chill in my van until around noon, walk around a bit, open my stand, sell some margaritas, tell stories to whoever will listen. Yeah, that's my dream. I've been through a lot in my life, a lot of violence, a lot of anger and pain. And just once I want to be happy. Not care about what's going on in politics, not care about what depressing ass shit is on the news. Just fade away from my bad memories, and be in peace selling my margaritas, telling stories, and surfing.
I have a couple of friends, they're in a relationship together, with whom I've had experiences like this. We went to Vegas on July 4th. We went to the Santa Monica Pier and hung out on the beach all day earlier this month. We're trying to plan a trip somewhere fun once this pandemic dies down. Maybe Miami? We're not wealthy people. I'm 30. My buddy is 23 and his girlfriend is 21. They both interact with me like I'm their cool older brother or something. It feels nice. I haven't had a connection like this with people my age at all. My ex used to get pissed that I was hanging out with 2 people 7-9 years younger than me. She just doesn't understand.
A bathtub that is deep enough the water covers my boobs and me knees, and is long enough I can lay flat on the bottom. As a daughter of immigrants I can only speak to that experience, and I so honor and respect you all who have left it all behind for what was right and a better life. It is so hard and it stays with you forever. You will always be of that culture but can never go back home. I will never go back to Cuba. My family members almost died in the name of freedom to get us here, to get me here so that their kids would because of it. If I ever dared to go back there I would be dishonoring their biggest plight and gift to me, because freedom isn't free, and as long as your country and mine isn't free every time we are visit have rights and therefore a possibility of a better future even when it meant they might die. That county it is the regime that benefits and never the people, and regardless of who you are back home you are in their country with their laws now and you have no rights, no choice, not really. My parents fought to give me that choice. And I won't be using my choice to feed back the very hands that almost killed them for simply seeking basic human rights of freedom and the opportunity to grow. Thank you for going through that journey even though it's very hard. That lesson will never leave you, and I'm confident your kid will understand and honor that story with gratitude in their own way too.
Not even buying a house. Owning it outright without having to slog through a mortgage. I have this fantasy where my landlord wins Powerball. He's a lovely elderly Croatian man, and just lets us keep the house we're in currently. It's a beautiful little place that would be perfect as a starter home. If we'd been around 20 years ago, that is. I don't need millions of dollars. Just a small place I can call my own and raise my family in. Every time I think we've got enough for a deposit, the prices have drifted just beyond our reach again. About 7 or 8 years ago I was working as a manager in a software company, which was the most stressful job I've ever done, and I was 8 years into it. Suddenly an opportunity popped up to go to a conference in Spain for a week, and I decided screw it. I have some money saved and rented a private villa on an island in the Mediterranean for the following week. Finally, I had nothing to do but sit in the sun, jump in the surf, drink the local whatever it was, and just generally say fuck it to the world. I spent the first day laying on the couch reading a book. And it was awesome. And I really felt guilty about it. I frequently fantasize about time travel. I legitimately have an obsession with the concepts of time travel, and time travel in fiction. I have a system in my head that I've never shared with anybody, so that if I ever need to converse with my past self we will both know what to say so that he believes me and that it's not a prank. I frequently fantasize about interrupting the moment my parents meet. My dad picks my mom up in his taxi cab. He didn't treat her great, they stayed together for too long just because they had me. I'm emotionally stunted and broken because of things he did. I frequently dream about blocking their meets so that my mom could maybe have a better life.
If you blocked their meat, wouldn't you create a paradox?
Yes and no, but that really depends on which philosophy of time travel you follow. Or rather, which philosophy of time travel is real. If we live in a deterministic universe, then no, I wouldn't be able to block them from meeting, and if I attempted to anyway, I would fail and all of my actions would have already happened originally. So if I interacted with my dad, that always happened. It could be that my involvement is what actually causes them to meet in the first place. But we might not live in a deterministic universe. It might be that as soon as I time travel back to the 80s, a new timeline is spun off from the 80s. A timeline in which I suddenly appear in the 80s and everything that happens after that is free game. So I could puncture my dad's taxi that day so that he can't work and pick up my mom. I would never be born, but that doesn't matter because I'm from a different timeline. My mom can hopefully lead a happier life and I'll just put all my money in Microsoft and Google stocks and live my best life.